Balloon Beats.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Unhinged Live. As usual, I'm your host, Patrick Haynes. You're joined tonight by the man, Jalen. How are we doing tonight, Jalen?
I'm feeling amazing. One more sleep.
Amazing.
One more sleep. That's all we need. And
That's
baseball's
it.
back.
That's it. Shout out to everyone already in the chat. Let's do our little attendance as we usually do. Shout out Aiden. We got Pat Daddy. First comment. Let's go.
Pat
NY White
Daddy.
Sox. Daniel, Lori, James, Julio, Hater, Bright, Ben. Ben Wilson, Higashioka, boom, boom, boom guy. Tyler, George, Evan. All right, I think we hit on everyone. Before we do address any comments tonight, I do want to start off by talking about Robinson Chirinos. We just wrapped up a little podcast talking about him. I feel like we say that every night, but we do podcasts every night. It'll be out tomorrow at 12 p.m. If you guys want to stay tuned for that. We go into a little bit more detail about the Chirinos situation, but I guess we'll touch on it a little bit tonight. Listen, it's not a minor league deal. News came out last night. He's going to be the third string catcher. I understand fans might be a little pissed off about it just because they don't like Chirinos the person. But I don't know about you, but like I don't really see an issue with the deal at all. The Yankees needed a third string catcher. And based on Chirinos' career stats with Garrett Cole, I think it's a solid move.
Yeah, I think this is nothing more than a depth move. At the worst, he doesn't make the team. He asks for his release and joins another major league team. And at the best, he's our backup catcher. That would mean, and I say at the best because that means he has an amazing spring. He looks really good. He's in great shape. Garrett Cole loves working with him, and he becomes our backup catcher. I don't think that'll be the case. I think Chirinos is up there in age. I think this is more of just an insurance move, sort of similar to what we saw with Matt Duffy last year, and bringing back Eric Kratz. I don't really see this as anything that, I saw a lot of people saying Gary's going to be traded now. This is not Gary Sanchez's this has nothing to do with the starting. Yeah, this has nothing to do with that. I think this is just insurance, and I think Cashman, which we can get into a little bit later, but I think Cashman is really paying attention to depth this offseason, something that he's never or hasn't really done in a long time, and I'm really excited for it. So
sure. Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Before we talk any more about Chirinos, I do want to address a situation that we encountered tonight, and Jalen was a part of this. Prior to our recording tonight, I wanted to kind of get the wrinkles out of my shirt, right? That's fine, like a normal person would like to do. I didn't want to use my iron because I just bought the steamer from Amazon for $10, right? I fill it up, plug it in, whatever, wait for it to be hot. Might have burned my finger a little bit, first degree burn, I don't know. But I go to steam the shirt, it's still wrinkled and it's just wet. So I don't know, A, I don't know how to use a steamer. B, the steamer's defective. But that's a little story time for tonight. But
well, I told Pat, make sure that you let it warm up a little bit. I feel like you just went right after it, and I think that you were a
I
little
just went in.
eager. It was
I saw the
a new.
steam coming out. I was like,
Yeah, you were excited. It's fine.
yeah,
It happens. You'll
first
get used
timer.
to it. You'll get used
Yeah,
to it.
first timer. So I apologize if my shirt looks a little bit wrinkled tonight, Chad. I think it's a vibe though. I think it's a
It
vibe.
is.
So moving on. Daniel says Giants got Nick Tropiano, Yankee legend Nick Tropiano.
Listen, there's this thing that goes around. I'm not going to say any names, but Anthony loves to send every single transaction in the major leagues, minor leagues, no matter what happens, wherever they sign. And Anthony, I'm not going to lie. I don't know if you're tuned in right now, but you'll see this eventually. We don't care. Like, I don't care about some random player getting signed by the Toronto Blue Jays or the Oakland Athletics. And I don't care about Nick Tropiano getting signed by the San Francisco Giants. I just don't. That means nothing to me. Sorry, Daniel.
Yeah.
Thank
no,
you,
it's
though.
true.
Thank you for the update. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I would have to agree, honestly. And also, to add on to the kind of catastrophe of tonight, I just realized my microphone wasn't plugged in this entire time. Now it is.
Oh.
Yeah,
You
I
do
don't know
sound
if
a
you
little
can
bit
tell.
different. You sound a little different.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's just how the night's going so far. But yeah, moving on.
It would have been funny if nobody could hear anything you were saying.
It's a shame, though, because now I got to go back and watch the recording to see if, like, my mic audio picked up. But yeah, if
I'm
not,
sure it's
maybe
there.
we'll have to redo it. Moving
knows?
on. Who do you think the Yankees will be? Who do you think will be the 5 players on the Yankees that will do the best?
Let's go one for one. You say one, then I'll say one. We'll go back
All right,
and
cool.
forth. Like a little
Wow,
draft.
this is like a fun little draft here. All right, I'm gonna say Garrett Cole.
Garrett Cole, that's a great one. Well, I feel like
Are we allowed to say the same ones though?
No, let's do 5 total between me and you.
Okay.
And if we disagree on any, we'll debate about it.
Right.
Number 2, I'll go DJ. There's not really an order, but DJ. I feel like that's a lock.
3, I'll go Judge.
Okay. Sleeper pick. I'm gonna go with Giancarlo Stanton. I think he's gonna have a monster year. I think that playoff run was a little foreshadowing for what he's about to do this year.
Sure. Let's see. 5. Last but not least, this might be a hot take. I'm gonna say Aroldis Chapman.
I
think he's gonna have a really good year. I
don't
know
like that
why.
a lot.
I'm just feeling it.
I like that. I could see that. I think with the moves that we've made as far as adding depth to our bullpen and not necessarily just relying on 3 big names and then, Luis Cessa and Johnny Lasagna, I could see him settling back down and having a dominant year. I would have went Luke Voit. I think Voigt's going to have another really good year. But the Yankees are deep, man. I think we get so caught up in realizing that they didn't make the World Series the past million years. They have a really strong team, and I think Eric Kresge's going to help them stay healthy. I'm excited about this year.
Yeah, I agree, 1,000%. Julio says Pat Bozol for not knowing how to iron. Not an iron, a steamer.
He knows how to iron.
Totally different thing. Yeah, I know how to iron. If you don't know how to iron, that's a really troubling scenario.
It's an issue.
However, you get what you pay for. $10 can barely get you a decent cheeseburger. It's kind of true.
Oh, I thought you were talking about a Yankee or something.
No, I'm talking about because I said I paid $10 for the steamer on Amazon. I trust Amazon usually.
Steamers are not too pricey. I feel like I don't know. I've got mine a long time ago. I don't remember how much I paid, but it couldn't have been much more than $10.
Yeah. But Kevin says Brewers just signed Travis Shaw.
It's another one of those. Just hey, listen. Actually, Travis Shaw I think would have been a nice fit with the Yankees.
Yeah.
And if they would have signed Travis Shaw instead of Jay Bruce, I would have liked that because he can play both corner outfield positions, both corner infield positions, second base, and has nice lefty pop. So I would have liked that more than Jay Bruce, but I think the Brewers are going to offer him a starting job. He's been there for a little while. So
yeah, he was actually traded there from Boston, wasn't he?
Yeah, and then I remember when Moustakas went there, they had Travis Shaw play second, so Moose could play third. Yeah, he's probably going to be their starting third baseman, right?
Yeah, probably. Parker says your mic was muffled, nothing more. That's good, I guess. Right?
There you go. There's your answer.
All right. Tyler Wade snubbed of 1. It's true. We didn't mention Tyler. You know who else we didn't mention? J Happ, I think he's gonna have a great season for the Twins. Probably Cy Young contention, to be honest with you.
I honestly think J Happ gets a little bit of a bad rep with the Yankees. His time wasn't awful. It's almost like that AJ Burnett effect, right? Like AJ
Sure.
Burnett, they
Yeah.
won the World Series, and so we thought AJ Burnett had this like great Yankee career, and he wasn't that great. And I think Happ was kind of the opposite. We brought him here. We thought he was going to be this guy that was going to anchor us, beat the Red Sox. Didn't happen. And he's had stretches where he's been terrible, but he's had a pretty consistent year, or not consistent, but overall, the numbers have balanced out.
He was good in 2020.
Yeah, and I think he might have been at one point. He might have been our most reliable starter aside from Garrett Cole. So, I mean, I think he's going to do fine in Minnesota. I'm not really worried about him at all. Like, I personally don't like when people like the Twins or the Blue Jays or the Angels go out and get good starting pitching, because that makes, like, the White Sox, for instance, when they signed Dallas Keuchel, I didn't like that, because that just means that they're going to be a lot tougher in a playoff series. But the Twins still don't scare me, and they never will.
Yeah, no,
So,
there's still always going to be the Twins. I don't care who they get; they never going to scare me.
Especially J Happ is not going to move the needle for me.
Victor says Gary Sanchez is finally going to wake up and have a monster year.
I hope so.
I think. Listen, I've said it. I think 2021 is going to be a huge year for Gary. I think. I just hope that the pressure of like overperforming doesn't get to him, because like there might be some jitters for him going into the season, because we know Gary's like a player who a lot of people say that things get to his head, right? So I don't want like the idea of him trying too hard to get to his head. I just want him to like go out there, relax, understand that we don't need you to hit 300 with 50 bombs. If Gary gives us, we've said it so many times this offseason, if Gary gives us 230 with 30 home runs, we'll take that any day of the week.
Yeah, 100%. And I also don't think – I think the thing with Gary is that the reason why I'm not – I've been always saying I want a better catcher, mainly for his defense, because, I don't really expect too much out of a catcher hitting anyway. But I like the fact that Gary is never – I've never questioned if Gary wants it, if Gary – if he wants to be our starting catcher, how much he cares about it. I don't know if you remember, but in the 2017 ALDS, when we fell behind to the Indians 2-0, he put up this like quote, and it was like the first time we've ever seen Gary tweet or say anything.
Yeah.
And he was like, the greatest story is when like the people who were down decided not to give up, something like that. And then the Yankees won 3 straight. And then every time the Yankees like got behind in some kind of series, everyone would retweet that tweet. And every offseason you see him working hard. So I don't question if Gary is willing to put the work in. Like you said, it's just a matter of getting his mentals right. And I think hopefully a guy like Trinos can, give him some defensive tips, and the depth that we have this year can settle him down a little bit. Our offense can stay healthy, take some pressure off him to not, hit 35, 40 home runs. Give us 28 home runs, give me 80 RBIs, and serviceable behind the plate. That's all I ask for.
I'd agree. Food Size says the bullpen looks elite. If you also had Luis Hill, is it Heel? I heard it's Heel, Luis Heel. Mendoza, Herman, Sevy to relax him back in with the other main guys. I kind of said it before. I think putting Sevy in the bullpen once he does come back, especially if the rotation is at full strength, we're talking like Kluber, Tyone, like none of them are having any injury issues. I think the best bet might be to throw Sevy in the bullpen just to, like Food said, relax him back in.
Yeah, that's interesting. I never really thought about that, just because the way I look at it is like if we're getting to the point where it's August and September and Kluber and Tyone are still giving us quality innings, I don't want to overextend them because we need them for the playoffs. So having another guy like Sevy come in and give us a couple starts at the end of August and beginning of September, that could take some pressure off of them. But at the end of the day, we do have a lot of guys that can give us those spot starts. We have Sessa. We brought back, what's his name? Nestor Cortez.
Oh, I forgot about Cortez.
We brought back Nestor Cortez. We signed Chacin. We have Clark Schmidt. We have Davey. So we have a lot of guys Mike King. We have a lot of guys that can give us these spot starts if we want a Kluber or Loizaga. If we want Kluber or Tyone, and then when Sevy comes back, to maybe skip a start or so that they're ready for October, we can do so. So I'm really excited. Like I said, I'm really excited about this depth.
Same. Lori has a hot take. Gardner will re-sign for $1 million and make the All-Star game.
Nah.
If that happens, that means that there's trouble on the Yankees end because there's no chance. Let's say Gardner does re-sign for $1 million. If he makes the All-Star game, that means that he would have had a significant amount of plate appearances. And
Yeah.
did Clint Frazier like disappear? Because where's Brett Gardner getting even enough plate appearances to earn an All-Star spot? So
The only way. Well, first of all, Brett Gardner's not signing for $1 million. I don't know where. I've
like,
seen
why
a lot
not?
on Twitter because I think he legitimately believes, and there might be one or two ball clubs that believe that he's worth a starting outfield job, and I think to be completely fair to Gardner, he might on some teams he is worth a starting job, and it's just not with the Yankees. But that's the problem is like people like John Heyman pushing out these tweets where it's like, I want him to still be a Yankee. Like I've never seen that before.
Stupidest tweet I've ever seen in my life.
It was the most obvious case of an agent paying a reporter to put some kind of a feeler out there. I don't understand. I've never seen a beat writer or journalist say, I hope that he signs with the Yankees, unless it's like some kind of like sad story, which is obviously not the case here.
But it's crazy
I've never
because,
seen that.
bro, we've seen it all offseason. Like all these media outlets acting like Brett Gardner's Derek Jeter. And like if he doesn't return to the Yankees this year, and if he doesn't finish his career with the Yankees, it's like some global catastrophe, and it can't happen because Gardner's the definition of a Yankee. And bro, like I respect Gardner's time in the Bronx. We talk about this every night, but it's like he's not this Yankee legend that everyone hypes him up to be. And sure, maybe it would be nice if he could have like one more year and like go out with a bang or something. But like if he doesn't want to do that for 1 year, 1 million, then he could go to St. Louis and do that. You know what I mean? Because it's not like he's Derek Jeter.
Right, exactly. And I know, and I think the people are really underestimating, for good reason, they're underestimating Cashman's ability to play hardball. Like, they're serious about getting under this luxury tax, and they're not going to sacrifice that for a 37-year-old outfielder on the decline. Like, there's no way that they're going over the tax. Like, and they're not trading. I saw this idea floated out there that they're going to trade Gary Sanchez, their starting catcher, to make money, to clear money, and a roster spot for Brett Gardner. That just doesn't make any sense. I think Brett Gardner can get a starting job somewhere else if he wants to. If he doesn't, if he wants to be on the bench here and make less than $2 million, absolutely, let's do it.
Yeah, I agree. Christopher has a hot take. Gary will be in the minors by the All-Star game.
I can't see that.
That's a hot take.
I know there was like those rumors that Bob Clapper said that the Yankees are giving him 4 to 6 weeks. I think that's kind of stupid.
There's no chance.
If you're giving a guy for a month to prove that he's worthy of a starting job in a season that's 7 months, then why is he your starter? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's
at least give him till
give him till the All-Star break.
June. Yeah,
give him till the All-Star break. You know how many guys start extremely slow in the majors, especially in New York when it's freezing cold. I don't know if you remember, Mark Teixeira used to always start. I was just
going to say that.
Yeah.
Yes,
Teixeira used to always start super slow, and then he would heat up when it got hot outside. Imagine if they were just like, Mark Teixeira, sorry, like, you had a bad first month. You got to ride the bench.
Yeah, no, I know. That's what I'm saying. But that's why Anthony says, now we can't get our hopes up. We can't keep running away from reality. Gary couldn't hit a fastball in 2020. I would love for Gary to shine. I'm hoping he will, but I also worry he'll bat 150 again. And I think everyone has both of these thoughts going through their head. But I think we can – I don't want to say we can all come to an agreement because we can't. But I think personally that Gary isn't a 150 hitter. We know Gary, he's a streaky guy. But I think at the end of the day, he's a much better baseball player than a 150 guy. And I think he's going to show better than that this year.
I also disagree with the idea that, listen, Gary did not have a good year last year. Nobody can deny that. And if anyone's the biggest, like, Gary Sanchez, I don't want to even say hater because I do like him, but I ragged on him a lot throughout the season and the offseason. I watched back a lot of the games, like full games, full highlights, not like the 4-hour version, but like when they condense it into like 25 minutes. I watched a lot of those. And Gary's at bats, while they were not like, it wasn't so much that he couldn't hit a fastball. It wasn't that he wasn't, he lost all his mechanics and he just doesn't know how to play baseball anymore. He just didn't have discipline. And a lot of times he was just missing stuff. He would hit a ball hard, it would be right at somebody. And that's baseball. Like baseball is such a mental thing and such a lucky game where if Gary Sanchez could have hit 350 and hit a bunch of bloop singles all year, and would we be saying he was a great player? Like it just, I think we should hold out a little bit of reservation, at least just as far as the offensive end. I really hate his defense, and that's been known besides his arm. But yeah. And also, this is not a Boston hat. Whoever said that.
Yeah, I actually saw that comment further down. Where was it? CJ said, Lonzo, why do you have a Boston hat on? It's a Brooklyn Dodgers hat.
Come on now.
Just saying. Yeah, but yeah. Okay. Going back above, because we still have some comments to hit on. Ben Wilson has a hot take. The Yankees win 110 games, have 8 All-Stars, and sweep the Padres in the World Series. That would be a beautiful ass season.
I don't see 8 All-Stars.
Yeah,
I could see 100. I don't know about 110. I could see them winning over 100 games though, if we have health.
I mean, like 8 All-Stars like doesn't sound too crazy because like I could think off the top of my head, like let's say like on the offensive side of things, we're talking like Judge, Stanton,
LeMahieu,
and Glaber.
Voit maybe. And then we're talking like Cole, automatic, right? Yeah.
So that's already 5. And then let's say like
Chapman.
Britton, Chapman, Green. Like it's not like that.
No,
crazy
it's possible.
To think about.
I wouldn't say it's impossible. I feel like every year we have that idea that we're gonna get all these guys in the All-Star game. And somehow like at the last like 2 weeks, like I remember Voit was supposed to be like a lock for All-Star starter. And then like Carlos Santana just went on an absolute tear, and it wasn't even close. So that's a really tough thing to get 8 guys in the All-Star game. But
the game was in Cleveland too, I believe. So that kind of helped them out.
That was Carlos Santana's spot.
Yeah. CJ said, "Bro, never got a notification." Yo, YouTube, get your shit together. Like, come on. Like, just send out those notifications.
Even I got it, and I'm on it.
Bro, I didn't get it.
Wow.
This is my channel. I didn't get it. Like, what? Jesus.
Well, they probably figured you know.
Hot take, Clint, 40 home runs. That's not outlandish.
Yeah.
I kind of predicted already. I think Clint's going to be an all-star this year. I truly think Clint's going to be an all-star.
I could see that.
You give Clint that starting spot, he's going to run with it. Just saying. That's what I'm saying. Can you see Clint hitting 280 with 30 home runs? Easily. I think you put Clint in left field to start every day, knowing he doesn't have to watch his back for Brett Gardner. I think this dude's going to absolutely rake this season.
Yeah. The only thing I worry about with Clint is he made some comments basically saying how the fans not being there was a big help for him to like kind of regain his confidence. I'm not worried about him when the fans come back. I just want to make sure that I want to see his adjustment to fans being out there when he does encounter that first slump, which is going to happen. It's inevitable. Everybody goes through slumps in a 160-game season. So I really hope that he can, now that he has that confidence that he can perform, that he doesn't let the fans get into his head too much.
Yeah. No, yeah, definitely. But also I think we've seen a changed Clint. This is a Clint that's much more like reserved. He's much more calm. And I don't think like the fans coming back are gonna cause a burden on him, especially because it's only gonna be 10% to start off. So it's not gonna be like packed stadiums right off the bat.
Yeah.
But let's see. Who do you think the Yankees are gonna face in the ALDS? Assuming they're the 1 seed, maybe who do we think is gonna be the wild card? I'm gonna say like Blue Jays, Rays.
I was gonna say I don't think the Rays are gonna be very good.
Really?
I said this.
I think they're gonna find some way to still be good.
You're right. They'll be contending for playoffs. But listen, last offseason, I gave my hot take that the Astros were going to be extremely underwhelming. They did make, to their credit, they made the ALCS, but it was a very weak bracket on their side. They had to go through the Twins, who sucked, and the A's, both pretenders, and then the Rays beat them.
Yeah.
They did surprise us a little in the playoffs, but that's what the playoffs is. Throughout the season, weren't they under 500?
The Astros?
Weren't they at least like
I'm pretty
500 or
sure
a
they
little
were
bit
above. They
below.
were under 500, I believe.
So listen, I said that they were going to be underwhelming. This year, my hot take is that Tampa Bay Rays are going to be underwhelming. I'm not saying they're going to be under 500, but I think they're going to take a huge step back. And I really don't think that's that bad of like a hot take. They lost a lot
No,
this
yeah,
offseason. So I
yeah.
think they'll be right. They'll be battling with the Blue Jays, with the Indians, probably actually not the Indians, the Twins, the A's for that, the Astros for that wild card spot. But I don't see them being like a 90-win team. I can see them winning like 84, 85 games.
I'd agree, but I still think like that kind of puts them in contention for like a second wild card spot, like
For
you said.
sure. They could be there.
Yankees up 1, Game 6 of the World Series, need 2 outs to win the World Series and 2 men on base. Britain's in the game. Who do you put in, O'Day or Chapman? I mean,
I
I
leave
think
Britain in.
I was just gonna say that. Like,
I leave
I
Britain
would,
in.
unless we're talking about like Britton has like 40 pitches and he walked the past 2 batters and he's
Yeah.
definitely like showing signs of like fatigue. Then if it comes down to O'Day or Chapman, I think I still bring in Chapman, despite what happened the past couple of years. I'm bringing in Chapman over O'Day. I mean,
1000%. You go with listen. Something that I've learned throughout my years of playing baseball is you go with your best guys, no matter what. If you lose with your best guys on the field, you can live with that. Simple as that.
Yeah, I agree. If he doesn't want 1 million, he can go and kick rocks. True. Definitely true. After the season, if you had the chance to choose who the Yankees sign, would you get Seager or Story?
Well, we know your answer.
Do we?
I hope so.
You
I feel like I don't know
my
you.
plan is, right?
I think so. Was it similar to my door plan that didn't work out?
A little bit. So, like, what I think the ideal situation would be after the season for the Yankees, you go out, and I know people are gonna knock on me for this. You trade Gleyber Torres for Luis Castillo. You just do it. But then at the same time, you sign Corey Seager.
Interesting. I absolutely hate that plan. But yeah.
You're telling me you wouldn't like Corey Seager in the Bronx. Well, let me put it this way. Corey Seager and Luis Castillo or Gleyber Torres.
But I think you can get Castillo without giving up Gleyber Torres. Or at least another. I think you can get a good starting pitcher like a Kyle Hendricks without giving up Gleyber Torres. And I think Trevor Story is better than Corey Seager, so I'd rather Trevor Story. I think that the Yankees are going to do their due diligence in the shortstop market this offseason. I don't think they're going to sign any of the big guys. I
agree.
Gio's going to show that he's definitely not – he's already shown he's not a fluke. He's had 2 good seasons already. So I'm not really too concerned about third base. He's a great defender. He's our third baseman. DJ's here for the next 5 years, so he's going to be our second baseman most likely. And Voit has 4 years of control left, and he just was the home run champion in the American League, and he's healthy now. He's our first baseman. The only question that we have is shortstop, right? So if Gleyber Torres has a bounce-back year, I know they gave a lot of excuses to him, so they must believe that he's much better than he was last year, as I do also. He showed that in 2018 and 2019. So I think if Gleyber Torres has a bounce-back year, he's our shortstop for the future until he gets extended or leaves in free agency. I don't think they're trading him. If he has a mediocre year, then that's even trickier because now his trade value is so much lower than it would have been. So I think he's around. We're stuck with Gleyber regardless, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I just think he's gonna. I can't see them moving on.
I don't see them trading him either. The only reason I kind of throw out that suggestion is because I think of the way that the Yankees can nail another top of the line arm, and if it does take Gleyber to do that, I'm doing it as long as you have another awesome shortstop waiting in the wings, like a Seager, like a Story, like a Lindor.
I agree. I agree with that, but I'd like your plan a lot better if it was Story over Corey Seager.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, teach their own. Robinson Chirinos was Cole's personal catcher in Houston, which I don't believe he was. Wasn't it Maldonado who was his personal catcher in Houston? Higgy is Cole's catcher now. Will the Yankees take on 3 catchers this season? If so, who will be sitting more or starting more? They can't afford to lose a key player in this lineup.
No, they're not doing 3 catchers.
Listen, I think Gary is still going to be playing the most. I don't know. Maybe they'll try to experiment this season And if Gary's like performing well, maybe they kind of like try to ditch the whole Higashioka Cole relationship and just maybe have Cole work with Gary a little bit more. Just because if Gary really is your catcher moving forward, right, and he's performing at a good level this season, you're gonna need Cole to pitch to him sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Especially in the postseason, because if Gary has a great season, there's no way you're sitting him game 1 of the ALDS. There's no way.
And he can't be your DH if everyone's healthy because you're not taking Stanton
But
out of
that's
the
what I'm
lineup.
saying. So it's like
no,
it all depends on Gary's performance this year, really.
I also don't think they're going to go 3 catchers because they're back at 26-man rosters, and that would basically mean that we have 1 real bench guy if you have 2 catchers on the bench.
Yeah. Julio says, I think Gary has had enough time to prove himself. Enough wasting time with him. We need a good catcher. Stop experimenting. Okay.
I mean, listen.
But with Gardy, Boone is going to start Gardy over Clinton if he's doing well, especially against righties. That's my only fear. Like, we saw it in the postseason last year. Like, Clinton was kind of cold heading into the playoffs, and Gardy was red hot. So what happened? Gardy got most of the playing time. That's, like, the kind of stuff that I'm concerned with if Gardner does resign, which I don't want him to. Like, I genuinely don't want him to at this point. Just because let Clint rock. Like, let him be the guy. Like, it's not like Gardner's, like, any sort of, like, leadership for Clint at this point. Like, all he does is steal the dude's turtlenecks. Like, genuinely. Like, just let Clint rock. Just let him be the guy.
Yeah.
What do you think about Jeff Mathis? I think he just signed with he signed with somebody. Rangers, maybe? Don't
care.
Well, what do you have against Jeff Mathis?
I think Jeff Mathis is the type of guy that has been in the major leagues and somehow every offseason gets a contract.
It's true. Yeah, I mean, listen, catchers, bro. You want your kid to
He's
have
a good
career?
He's a good defensive catcher. That's what it is. He's a really good defensive catcher.
Yeah. I always get notifications 20 minutes in. That's brutal.
Better late than never.
I was just Jalen. You gotta stop reading my mind tonight. It's
Sorry,
just not. It's not okay.
Forgot to turn off my superpowers.
CJ says, I think Lonzo starts in right field over Judge, and Hennessy starts on the bench and gets put in the minors before his first AB because they didn't like how he thought about Gardy. Damn. I waited my whole life for that moment.
I've been talking with Coach.
No, here we go.
They don't know. Well, listen. My primary position is third base. They know that. They know that Gio's the guy. I know that Gio's the guy. But I told him just give me a chance, and we'll see what happens. I'll be there bright and early tomorrow before anyone else there. First one in, last one out. That's the mentality you gotta have.
Course.
But at the end of the day, it's about the team. So we'll see.
Yeah. If you see Aaron, Boone, Hicks, or Judge, let them know.
I will.
Yankees Royals ALDS make it happen. #unhinged KC. Now, Jalen, I don't know if you're aware, but a couple nights ago, you remember when Benintendi got traded to the Royals?
Yeah.
Okay, so me and Sean went live that night, and we were, like, breaking down the Royals roster, bro. Like, I'm kind of in love with the Kansas City Royals going into this year.
What the hell is
they're
going
just
on?
a fun-ass team. Genuinely. How? Okay, that's what I said at first. Ready?
Let's hear it. I want to be a part of this.
Here. Listen to this lineup, bro. They have Mondesi, Hunter Dozier, Jorge Soler, Carlos Santana, Andrew Benintendi. I'm definitely missing some people.
They signed Carlos Santana?
Yeah, they have Carlos Santana. And
Why'd
then
you say yeah like that?
Yeah. Carlos Santana. But bro, then like they got like Brad Keller. They got chat. Let me know who I'm missing because the Royals are stacked, very low key.
They're cute.
And hear me out. They brought back Wade Davis and Greg Holland.
Ooh.
That's fun. That's fun.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little underwhelmed by.
No.
Listen, they're a cute little team, but they're not like they're gonna finish.
Are you gonna make me whip out the depth chart?
Go for it. Listen, they're gonna finish last in the AL Central.
All right, hear me out, Jalen. Ready?
That's all that matters.
Whit Merrifield, Andrew Benintendi, Carlos Santana, Jorge Soler, Salvador Perez, Hunter Dozier, Adalberto Mondesi, Nicky Lopez, Michael Taylor, and then the rotation. You got Danny Duffy, Brad Keller, Mike Minor, Chris Bubick, Brady Singer, and Jake Junis.
It's a cute team.
It's a cute team. It's a fun team.
Listen, they're better than the Red Sox. I'll tell you that.
That's what I'm saying. And we move the Unhinged headquarters down to KC because we could definitely afford an office down there.
Listen, Luke Voigt is from down there.
That's all I'm saying, bro. We would be the #1 outlet for all Royals baseball.
We might be the
Easily.
#1 outlet in the entire Midwest if we go down there. I don't know if they do anything in the Midwest.
Can you say that you're convinced now?
No. I still think the Royals suck. I think they have a nice, cute little team.
Underrated.
No, I think they're probably rated. I think Jorge Soler is a nice player who hits a lot of home runs. I think Hunter Dozier is like one of those guys that's very annoying.
What did he ever do to you?
He's like Hunter Pent. He reminds me, maybe it's because they're both Hunter, but like they do the one batting glove. It's very
okay.
I don't like it. It makes me very uncomfortable. Mondesi is another one that's like as soon as he gets on base, somehow he's on third base.
Exactly.
I don't like it. He's not a great defender.
Whit Merrifield.
Whit Merrifield's a stud. Give him that.
Soler.
Don't they have? So yeah, I mentioned Soler. Who else do they have?
Santana, Benintendi.
Santana sucks. Let's be clear. He's not good anymore. Benintendi sucks. He's terrible.
Okay. He's not okay. He had a down year last year.
He sucks. He's always sucked. He's a Red Sox. He sucks.
Moving on.
Who's
because I still love the Royals.
Is Ned Yost still the manager?
I think he retired.
Good.
Royals manager. You don't like Ned Yost either? You just hate everything about the Royals.
I hate the Royals.
Oh my! Oh, Mike Matheny.
Oh, even worse. Oh, that's so bad. Mike Matheny is like a racist, I think.
Wait, no, that's La Russa.
It's both of them, apparently.
Right. So now you hate the Royals, bro.
No, I didn't before. Now I do. You just made me hate the Royals.
Unbelievable. All right, whatever.
Matheny was the guy that was saying, I don't want to. Him and Bud Norris had some weird stuff going on in St. Louis. Well, we can talk about another time.
Yeah, moving on. For next offseason, he's got the lighter out. For next offseason, if Nationals underperform, then Scherzer could be Yankee due to connections with Cressy. Go for 2-year, $26 to $30 million. Maybe I could see him going like a Kluber route.
Is he a free agent next year?
Yeah. So is Verlander too. So is Kershaw.
I'll take 0 of them. I don't want any old expiring.
Bro, I hate when people say that because Kershaw's only 32.
No, I wasn't talking about Kershaw. Kershaw's going to be a Dodger.
Probably.
He's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
But I don't want. I mean, listen. Don't get me wrong. Scherzer would be amazing. But I don't think he's going to be a Yankee. I don't think that if we're clearing up. My thing is if we're clearing up money, like if we're resetting our luxury tax so that we can spend a ton next year, I don't think it should be for a 37-year-old. That's just my opinion.
Sure. I mean, that's fair enough. Do you think Higgie's going to start on opening day?
That's a great question.
That's a really good question.
That's a really good question, and my answer is no.
Ooh, okay.
I
was going to say yes.
I think Gary's going to redeem himself, and they're going to try. They're going to give it a go again with Gary and Cole.
Do we go for this one? Yeah, we'll go for this one. Who do you think gets dropped off the 40-man roster once Justin Wilson deal is announced? Can't they just move Sevy to the 60 day? And
that's what they're gonna do.
Yeah. Did you see the Yankees projections that MLB posted on Instagram? The Yankees have a 91% chance of winning the division. And as a huge Yankee fan, I feel that's a stretch. I think they'll win it though. I think they are going to win the division. But then again, I thought they were going to cruise to winning the division in 2020 as well. So I don't want to get my hopes up way too high, you know?
I don't think that's a stretch. I think everybody in there, I think people are really overestimating the Blue Jays. How did they get better?
They have a nice lineup.
How did they get better? I know George Springer's good, but he's the reason that they're going to.
Springer and Semien improves the
offense
lineup.
Was never their problem, though.
No, but I mean, now the lineup is deadly. It's just they don't have any pitching.
So is the Angels lineup. The Angels lineup is one of the best in baseball.
I would say the Blue Jays is better.
Sure, but that now, now that they added those guys, but you have no idea how those guys are going to perform in a new environment. I just feel like their lineup was already really, really good. But even still, with that, Bo Bichette's a stud, but I think he's overrated. I think he is this all or nothing guy. Vlad Guerrero Jr. is overrated, in my opinion. We see him hitting BP, and we think he's He's overrated.
Remember when
I
he
don't
first came
understand.
up?
Yeah, and everyone was like scared shitless of the guy, and then he hit like
Yeah.
a bloop double down the right field line. Everyone's like, "Oh, Vlad!" Like, bro, these guys are overrated. I'm sorry. The Blue Jays
Do
are
it
gonna
again.
win.
Do it again. Do the Vlad thing
Ah,
again.
Vlad. Like, bro, I'm sorry. I'm not hearing any of this Blue Jays shit. The Blue Jays
No,
are
I get it.
not going anywhere until they get a better rotation. Hyun-Jin Ryu is
If
not gonna do it.
if they would have signed Bauer, I would have completely different views on them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Completely different views. Jay Bozo lists for hating KC, but then again, Ben says Pat Bozo lists for liking KC. So we got the chat split in half right now.
Listen, if you support KC, you support the Boston Red Sox, and if you support the Boston Red Sox, you're on the bozo list.
Yo, it's not that deep. It's not that deep. My surprise predictions for the Yankees. So people you wouldn't expect, not including our top guys, are MVP Clint, Cy Young Monty, top reliever O'Day, biggest surprise player Schmidt. I like maybe I'm in the minority here, but like I don't think Schmidt is gonna have a huge impact this year.
Yeah, I agree.
I think the rotation is
how
just way too crowded.
Look how much we've added.
I know, that's what I'm saying. So like
Yeah.
I don't really see a fit for Schmidt this year. Maybe in 2022.
I think he'll be
depends on how he progresses this year.
I think he'll be in the rotation in 2022.
Probably. Yeah.
Taking like Kluber's spot or something like that.
Yeah. Jalen, I know you're gonna love this comment. Breaking. The Oakland A's re-signed Yusmeiro Petit. They also signed Sergio Romo.
I actually do want to talk about this.
You're joking.
I'm joking. I don't.
Oh, okay.
Well, actually, Sergio Romo is interesting because I absolutely love facing him because when we beat him, it's the funniest thing.
I thought you were gonna say you love him. I was gonna, I hate so Sergio Romo.
I think every fan of any team that he's not been on hates Sergio Romo.
No, you know what I consider him as? He's like a pitcher version of Jose Bautista.
But see, I liked Jose Bautista.
No.
How did you not like him?
What do you mean, how did I not like? Bro, I would go to
Sergio Romo to Jose Bautista?
Yes.
I compare
hatred?
No.
Okay. Bro, how can you be a Yankee fan and like Jose Bautista?
Okay, that's what I was going to say. As a Yankee fan, I understand hating Jose Bautista. But as far as like the type of player they are, like I hated Dustin Pedroia as a Yankee fan. But I didn't hate the kind of player he was. I loved the way he played the game. But I compare Sergio Romo to like a Josh Naylor. That's who I look at him like.
Yeah, but Jose Bautista he was a cocky bastard.
Yeah, but that's not being cocky and backing it up is very different than being cocky and
Josh Naylor backed it up.
No, he didn't. He
in the wild card
series. Sure, but you're a guy it's probably your first time in the playoffs. Like you're losing, your team is losing, you got swept. Shut up. Like shut up until you start winning. I don't want to like talk shit after the game's over. Jose Bautista, the way that playoffs went when he hit that bomb against the Rangers after all the shit talking between the two teams, the fans throwing shit on the field, and he just takes a moment to just be like, fuck you guys. That was sick. I love shit like that. I can't recall Jose Bautista being like some kind of like
as a Yankee fan, I can't stand those 2015 Toronto Blue Jays. Like there's not an ounce of me in my heart. Like, bro, you say Jose Bautista, all I remember is me being in a game. It was like at Yankee Stadium, July 2015. A section of Blue Jays fans right next to me. This dude comes up, Jose.
Yeah.
It's like, shut up. Like, no, I don't care.
I get that. Okay, yeah.
And then
that
the dude
team
hits
was
a
very
bomb off
annoying.
Tanaka and pimps it. Like,
but that's my thing. I don't hate him. Now that era of Yankees-ness is over, I can appreciate Jose Bautista. I will forever hate Sergio Romo. He will walk a guy. Like, that's what I mean. Like, Sergio Romo will walk a guy and stare him down the line. Like, that's not how that works. That's not your job. Your job is
loved watching Bautista get rocked by Odor.
That was fun. But that's
rocked.
But my thing is, like, if I'm a Rangers fan, I don't care about that. How about you guys win? Like, do that. I don't.
Yes, but like,
listen, maybe it's from like when I used to play, and I remember I used to play with some guys who were just, and I used to talk shit all the time, but I didn't talk shit if I wasn't winning. And I remember facing off against guys who would love to talk shit against my team, and we'd be beating them 15-2, 12-1, like, and we just laugh at you. So I just know that that's how people look at Sergio Romo.
You know that if Encarnacion did not hold Bautista up after that punch, man was going down.
What was his name? Rough Ned Odor. That was his name.
Rougned Odor.
Yeah, that was. I think that was one of the cleanest punches I've ever
Clean.
seen. Just not even like how he landed it, but just like the effortless transition from like trying to turn a double play into rocking a guy, knowing that you're gonna do it. That was pretty cool. But
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm on that team, if I'm the Rangers, I just wish that would have been so much cooler if we won the series. You know?
Yeah, I would agree. And then I think that season they also had an opportunity to eliminate the Blue Jays from the playoffs, and I think they got swept because they faced the Blue Jays in the ALDS 2015 and 2016.
And 16, yeah.
Yeah, if I'm not wrong. Let's see. The only reason people hate Sergio Romo is because he fought Francisco Lindor. Is this why you hate Romo with a passion?
No, that adds to it. But I
okay.
don't know if people. I've hated him for so long. Like on the Giants, I hated him. I don't like him. But then that whole Lindor thing was so stupid. Also, like I don't know if you saw the clip, but like Lindor was just having fun and like he like popped. He flew out or something and like smiled. Like you know how guys are like, oh, I almost got you. He flew out and like looked at Romo and was like, yeah, I almost got you, smiling. And Lindor doesn't pick fights with anybody. And Sergio Romo like is chirping at him and like trying to come at him. And like shit like that just pisses me off. You got the guy out, just move on. Like if it's like against maybe a guy like Jose Bautista who talks a lot of shit, Josh Naylor, whoever. Like I get it, but don't like he just wants to be like that annoying pest, and he does it so much. I'm getting way too passionate about this, but like,
no, yeah, same. But moving on to Julio's comment. If Seager or Lindor don't get an extension, Yankees should sign one of them. Move DJ to first base towards the second. One Seager or Lindor to shortstop. Leave Urshela in third base. Put Voit, Andujar, and some prospects in a deal to get a good pitcher. Listen, I wouldn't be completely opposed to trading Voit as long as you have a good shortstop.
I just think something I've noticed. This is no disrespect to Julio because I think this is not a bad plan. I just think a lot of times as fans, we look – this is all sports of all fans. We look at things as if it's like the video games where we can just like maneuver things just as easily as we want to. It's not as simple as that. Like there's so many factors that go into who you keep, who you trade, who you let walk in free agency. Money's involved. You're dealing with real individuals, not just like attributes on a video game. And I think it's been a lot easier for Yankees fans to say trade Luke Voit because of the shortstop classes coming up, or trade Glaber. That's not going to happen. I'm telling you right now. Obviously, I don't know everything, but this is our infield. I genuinely feel that this is our infield. We're not getting one of those guys.
I agree. I would have to agree. But Seager or Lindor, I like Story in Yankee Stadium. Yeah, but if the Mets don't make the playoffs, he will bolt out big time. I mean, if we're talking Seager Lindor, I want Lindor.
Of course.
I mean, I didn't even have to ask you your answer for that one.
I agree. I do agree that if the Mets don't make the playoffs, I think Lindor's out of there.
Yeah, probably. I mean, bro, if the Mets don't make the playoffs this year, like something will have to go seriously wrong.
Not necessarily. The NL is deep, bro.
I get it, but like, I don't know.
They might be the fourth best team in that division. That's just like not
in the division,
but listen, not because of talent, but just sometimes that's how things play out. Like they might be within all those top four teams. The Phillies are not that great, but they could have just one of those years where everybody overperforms, and those top four teams could just all be within 2-3 games of each other, and the Mets go on a small losing streak and fall into fourth place in that division. It's that simple.
On paper though, I think the Mets have the best team in the NL East.
I think on paper, I think the Mets have the third best team in the National League.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say in the NL East. I was going to be like,
no. I think in the National League, I think it's the Dodgers, the Padres, and the Mets.
Sure, I would agree.
I think the Braves are an argument for that, but I don't see much beyond that.
Yeah,
Cardinals.
Would you trade Britton? I'm going to give you a big hell no, Benji. I think Britton is the best arm in our bullpen. Probably, honestly, the most underrated guy the past 3 years.
Yeah.
Just the definition of consistency. If there's a big moment in a playoff game, I want Britton in there.
Completely agree. I told you, Pat, I want Britton to be our closer.
Yeah, and a lot of people do, and I understand the argument. I wouldn't be opposed to him and Chapman like alternating the closer role, but I think Chapman is still going to be that guy. Like barring any crazy setbacks for him in 2021, kind of like what we saw out of him. Was it 2017 where he was god awful for a while? They had to take him out of the closer spot. Something like that would have to happen in order for.
And I'm not mad at that. I think Chapman's still a good closer, and he'll be fine. I like the fact that Britton has flexibility, that we can bring him in the 5th inning, we can bring him in the 8th inning. Britton's kind of settled into that like Andrew Miller role that we had.
Yeah.
So I'm cool with it.
Let's see. Also, the Yankees signed Robinson Chirinos to a minor league deal. What are your thoughts? Benji, I guess you didn't see the beginning, but we'll touch on it again. I don't think there's anything wrong with the Chirinos deal. I know a lot of people don't like Chirinos himself. He's going to be a third-string catcher if he even comes up to the major leagues at all. But, yeah, there's nothing to really lose. He has a good relationship with Cole. That's really the bottom line, honestly.
It's really creative spelling, Benji. Really sounded it out there.
Chorizo nay. Hear me out, okay? Yankees should sign Carlos Correa next offseason. Anthony, I'd rather chop off my left pinky on live.
I'd rather mop the ocean.
Until it's spotless. You would have to mop the ocean floor until it's spotless.
Yeah.
Or you could just we could send you out in like the middle of the ocean as like a nice little like Unhinged giving back to the world, and we could just have you like save all the turtles individually. Yeah, like you know how they're saying like all the turtles are getting like stuck in the plastic and shit. Yeah, we're sending Jalen out there, rescue them.
That's a done deal. If the Yankees sign Carlos Correa, consider the oceans clean.
Imagine they actually sign him.
Imagine actually
in the middle of the Atlantic.
Listen, that's not happening, and I pray that he remains an Astro forever, and every time he comes up to bat for the rest of his career, he gets hit in the back. I think he'll have the best on-base percentage of all time.
What a bum. Jesse says, could the Yankees get David Robertson?
I hope so. That'd be nice.
I wanted Robertson. I said a couple weeks ago, if he performed well in the showcase, I thought it was all but guaranteed he would come back to the Yankees. Yeah. But to be honest, after the Justin Wilson signing, I see it being less and less likely. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that my first reaction when they signed Justin Wilson was that they weren't too convinced after Wilson's showcase. But the reports were that he looked good. And I think he might be in that, not Kluber money, but that type of thing where he looked good and a lot of teams are lining up for him. Especially because he's coming off Tommy John, so he's going to be a cheap deal. A lot of teams are going to want a cheap reliever, especially a proven guy. So maybe he's just kind of out there scouring the market. I think if he is making less than $2 million, we have about $6 million before the luxury tax line. I wouldn't mind it. It's a nice another depth piece. Or like a minor league deal. Let him prove it. Incentives. I'm all for it. But like you said, I don't think that's going to happen now.
Yeah. Let's see. Could the Yankees get Trevor Rosenthal? I think it's kind of the same thing as Robertson, except probably less likely because I think Rosenthal's definitely going to demand more money than Robertson was.
Yeah.
But I think I wanted Trevor Rosenthal all offseason. Like, dude's a stud. And honestly, maybe he goes to the Mets at this point. Because I think the Padres are all set. I don't know what the other options are. Maybe the Blue Jays. That could be a possibility for him.
I'd still think they suck.
Ben Wilson says I'd vacuum the desert.
Listen, Ben, I'm with you. I'm right there with you, Ben.
It would have to be like a portable one, though, because I don't think there's outlets in the desert.
I'd rather get 12,000 extension cords all plugged in simultaneously.
And then Brennan just pulls up, unplugs one of them, the whole fucking thing's done. On Instagram, Correa posted a post of him walking his dogs in the snow, and I said, what a bozo. He is a millionaire, and he is walking his own dogs in the snow. Like, what a bozo. It's a really weird way to insult somebody.
Listen, any insult at Carlos Correa is warranted and great. So good job.
But here's the thing. We might have to get PETA on this situation only because did the dogs have a jacket? Because if the dogs didn't have a jacket or boots, that's animal cruelty. So we might have to just get Carlos Correa canceled because he clearly doesn't care about the well-being of his dogs,
Yeah, listen, I wouldn't put it past Carlos Correa to not care about his dogs.
I can't wait to see the Yankees play Houston. They will get booed the whole game nonstop. Funny you say that because I believe Houston is going to be in New York May 4th. You know what May 4th is? Patrick Hennessy's 21st birthday. That's
May the
that's
4th
gonna
be
be a
with you,
great
brother.
day.
How many times have you heard that?
Bro, I hate when people say that because I've never seen Star Wars and like
Neither.
it pisses me off that I share a day with that.
Never seen it either.
Bothers me.
And won't, by the way.
No, I
Won't
refuse
ever
because
watch.
now at this point it's like one of those things where it's like once everyone tells me to do something, now I'm really not doing it. Like,
Absolutely. Same
bro,
thing with like Grey's Anatomy and shit like that.
bro, or like Harry Potter. Like, get out of here with that. But bro, like I'm gonna be honest. Like people did that for me like for years about like The Office, right? I never wanted to give The Office a shot just because like everyone would tell me to watch it. I finally gave in. The Office is probably like my favorite show of all time. So like
Pat, I think we've lived parallel lives. I didn't watch The Office my entire life. Senior year of high school, my ex-girlfriend tells me to watch it, and you know how things go with your ex-girlfriends. And I watched it, and I was like, this sucks. The first episode.
yeah, same. And then I gave it
couldn't
another
get past
shot.
it. I gave it like four tries. Not with my ex, with the show. And I was devastated when they took it off Netflix. I watched it every single day.
Really? See, I was
my-
once I finished the show, like I'm not one of those people to like go back and rewatch the show like a million times.
It's the funniest show I've ever watched in my life.
Easily.
So
Easily.
good.
And it's a shame because something like that couldn't be on TV nowadays. But that's a story for another day.
For sure.
Anthony says, I hate to be a negative Nancy, but I don't remember Wilson being good on the Yankees. But I also haven't really looked at his stats recently. That's actually funny because I remember Wilson being very good on the Yankees.
He was very good.
He was very good on the Mets as well. I know there was times
good.
he was actually their closer.
Yeah, no, Justin Wilson had a great year in 2015, and then we flipped him. He wasn't a Yankee for a long time because, if I remember correctly, we traded Cervelli for Wilson, and then
I think
we traded Wilson for Chad Green and Sessa. It was Sessa or Loizaga? I think it's Sessa.
It was Sessa and Green. Yeah.
Yeah. So now we used the fact that he was solid in 2015. I think he had like a 3.1 ERA. He had 5. He was like 5-0. Very reliable. Pitched a lot of innings, and then we traded him that offseason for Chad Green and Luis Sessa, who are obviously now part of our bullpen. And now he throws like 90s. I was looking at some of his videos, like some of his highlights. The guy still pumps. Throws like 97.
Yeah.
Nice cutter. So yeah, I'm excited. And he's not supposed to be our closer, so I'm not really too worried.
Yeah. Benji says Springer will get booed on opening day. To be honest, looking back at like that 2017 Astros team, Springer's probably the one like I hate the least. Like he just seems like a decent guy.
I love Springer. I love the fact that he just seems like such a wholesome person. Like he like has like the speech impediment and like did the interviews and like was nervous. I was like, oh,
bro, like, but same. But
you know what I mean? Like I'm not. Like, I don't hate him.
Yeah,
I'm sure he was like the kind of guy that like, even if he did speak up about the whole cheating thing, people were probably like, "Shut the fuck up!" Like we're still.
Yeah, he just seems like a good dude. He seems like he'd be the type to be like, "Come on, guys," you know.
Yeah, 100%.
Lori says, "I would rather jam a rusty salad fork directly into my eye." I believe she's like referring to signing Correa.
I'm sure,
which makes sense. Yeah.
That levels out. That makes sense. I'm with you on
that. Bro, you guys are right. The Blue Jays aren't going to turn into the Mighty Ducks because of one signing. Cole's going to strike 15 of them out on April 1st. I like the way you think, Anthony.
That's mad. I don't know why, but Anthony saying the Mighty Ducks just made me. That was very funny. That was a well put comment. Good job.
That's a movie, right? Because I don't think I've ever seen it.
It is a movie.
It's about a hockey team?
It is about a hockey team.
Okay, cool.
Don't ask me why I watched a movie about a hockey team. But
Carlos Correa probably bangs his dogs just like them trash cans. I believe he means like hits his dogs. I don't want to think any deeper into that. Let's see. Your face. You guys are always worrying about postseason experience when the Dodgers' top 2 relievers were Blake Trinan and Jake McGee hardly had played in the postseason before.
Read that one more time. I just could not digest that for some reason.
Deep breaths. You guys are always worrying about postseason experience when the Dodgers' top 2 relievers were Blake Trinan and Jake McGee, hardly had played in the postseason before.
Okay. First things first. The Dodgers didn't win the World Series because of their postseason experience relievers. Postseason experience has never been a deal breaker for me. I can't speak for Pat, but I'm sure he feels similarly. It just helps. If we traded for Luis Castillo, you wouldn't hear us complaining about his lack of playoff experience. Yeah. I think he has 1 start, which was this past year. So I don't really know where we're getting that from. But the Dodgers won the World Series because they have the best starting rotation in baseball and because they have the best lineup in baseball. They could have had our AAA bullpen out there and they would have still won the World Series. So
True. Is Gardy going to retire if the Yankees don't re-sign him?
No.
Yeah,
he told me that personally.
Oh, here we go.
Bro,
we can't afford any more lawsuits. We just can't afford it.
Actually, Gardy didn't text me.
The Lindor one.
Gardy didn't text me. He faxed me. He paged me. He was like, I still have my.
He's a beeper.
He has a beeper. So
okay, makes sense. We actually have breaking news. Yankees signed Gardner, 5 years, $50 billion pending physical.
Nice deal.
Pretty solid. Johnny, you joined at the perfect time, my man. My bad for joining late. I've been doing 2 pieces of homework that are due by midnight. Procrastination is the best way to go with homework, easily.
Listen, wish I could say I didn't relate, but I can.
I hate Correa and Altuve just about the same. Correa even more. What Altuve does. Altuve, yeah. No. I don't know. I don't.
Can I give like a quick 20-second rant real quick?
Go for it.
I don't think people understand that my anger, I can only speak for me. My anger has never been about the cheating. That sucks and it was fucked up. But people have cheated in the past and they own up to it and you move on. People didn't hate A-Rod because he cheated. People hated A-Rod because he lied about it multiple times and didn't admit to it and apologize until he got caught. Same thing with Ryan Braun. I hate that the Astros cheated and I hate that we lost the potential World Series chance because of that. But I hate Carlos Correa and Altuve and Bregman and AJ Hinch because of how cocky they were about the whole thing. AJ Hinch's press conferences during the playoffs, all those ALCS games where they were making accusations and he was just laughing it off as if it was the most blasphemous idea in the world. Altuve saying we're the underdogs now and playing that whole bullshit card. Everyone knows what Carlos Correa did. The reason why I don't hate people like Marwin Gonzalez and George Springer as much is because they could at least say, okay, you know what? We fucked up. We own up to it. This was wrong. And I'm moving on. I can't change the past. I know what I did was wrong, but I'm moving forward. I'm not a George Springer fan. I'm not a fan of any of these guys from the Astros, but I can at least say that I respect them enough that they can own up to what they did and move forward. A-Rod's my favorite baseball player ever, and he is the biggest cheater in the history of baseball. Robinson Cano is another one, another multiple offender. So I can forgive that. It's just a matter of how, what is your level of humility, and those guys have none.
I agree. But before we do wrap things up tonight, I heard you mention A-Rod. Kind of reminded me of something I posted on Twitter today. I saw someone put out a tweet, and it was a picture of A-Rod's Yankee press conference, the introductory one. And
it's the anniversary.
17 years ago today. Yep. And the caption of the picture was, Jeter knew it was a mistake.
Yeah.
Bro, I had to quote tweet that and say it wasn't. People who don't like A-Rod's time in New York, let me just say, A-Rod was my favorite player growing up. I liked him even more than Jeter. I know a lot of people feel the same way as me. A-Rod was the better shortstop compared to Derek Jeter. A-Rod's time with the Yankees was amazing. I understand he had his postseason struggles early on. He won them the 2009 World Series almost single-handedly. So, all the A-Rod bashing, kind of needs to stop. I understand, there was some serious rough patches. 100%. But looking back on it, you can't deny the impact that the man had on the franchise. And at the end of the day, he's still one of the greatest baseball players of our generation, maybe even of all time, to be completely honest. Even steroids aside, I think if A-Rod didn't even take steroids, like he was still going to be a Hall of Famer. Same thing with Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, all these other guys.
Most of the guys that did, you know.
That's what I'm saying. So but a guy like, I think it just goes to show like D. Gordon took steroids. He didn't turn into Barry Bonds because steroids don't just turn you into an animal. You have to have some sort of talent to back it. You know what I mean? So it just frustrates me when people like bash like A-Rod for his time in the Bronx. But before we do wrap things up, listen, I don't know why people keep saying this is a Boston hat. He's wearing a Brooklyn Dodgers hat. Brooklyn Dodgers.
I'm from Brooklyn, New York City, Crown Heights. I'll send out my address and the next time I'm on live in case anyone
Let's
wants
not
to
do that.
come and talk to me about this. I'm not. There's so many things that upset me about the chat tonight, guys. You guys really let me down. Jeter's not okay. Let's just get some things. Before we wrap up, Pat. Let's get some things clear. The Astros are cheaters, and we hate them. We don't hate. We hate some of them more than we hate others. That simple, right? Alex Rodriguez is a better baseball player. Was a better baseball player. Will always be a better baseball player than Derek Jeter. That's a fact. That's backed up by multiple things.
Fact.
And I'm not gonna. But Jeter was a better Yankee. I'll give you that.
Fact.
Alex Rodriguez was a better baseball player. Better shortstop. Derek Jeter wasn't even the best shortstop on his own team. But let's move on. What else did we cover tonight? I'm not a Boston Red Sox fan. This is a Brooklyn Dodgers hat. I'm from Brooklyn, New York City. I'm black. Jackie Robinson is, he played on the Brooklyn Dodgers. I grew up 20 minutes from Ebbets Field. Brooklyn Dodgers. That's simple. What else? Yeah, look at my jersey. Of course, I also have an A-Rod jersey. I'm not showing it to you right now. It doesn't mean that I don't support the captain. I'm not just because we love you guys. You guys have to understand this. Just because we love one person doesn't mean that we don't love the other. I love Derek Jeter the same way that we love DJ LeMahieu, or that doesn't mean that Aaron Judge is not better than DJ LeMahieu.
Yeah, I'd agree. But listen,
you guys just got me really like, oh my goodness.
I think that is gonna wrap things up for us tonight. Listen, chat. I am gonna be going live on Twitch after this. We're gonna be going live for a little bit tonight. Probably not like 4 hours as we usually do, but for a little bit, we'll just chat for a little while. But twitch.tv/Unhinged New York, if anybody wants to still hang out and talk about baseball or whatnot, I am going to be going live on Twitch in about 5 to 10 minutes, so stay tuned for that. Appreciate everyone for stopping by tonight. As you guys know, we go live every night, 9 p.m. Eastern time on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Turn on post notifications too, because apparently YouTube hasn't really been sending them out lately. So make sure they're on. We also have a recorded video come out every day at 12 p.m. on the YouTube channel. But yeah, appreciate all you guys.
Click the bell.
Click that bell. Get those notifications.
I've always wanted to say that.
Hope to see some of you in 5 minutes on Twitch. If not, we'll see you tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Have a good night, everybody. Peace.